This Illinois Central train is on time, headed for Haleyville, largest town in Winston County, Alabama. Veteran engineer Toodlum Dobbs is at the controls.
This railroad still fascinates me, although I don't get to work much anymore. But I can reminisce and think about old times and days when we were back, when we worked on the steam engines together. Boy, we had a lot of fun out here on this thing, haven't we? Through the years. A lot different, though, Nothing like the old steam engine. Not as fascinating to me, really.
Toodlum has just completed another run on the railroad. As usual, his wife met him at the station. A longtime resident of Winston County, Dobbs has watched the county grow, and his fortunes have grown along with it.
Jim one the other day with it.
Good day, boy. Good. Hey, Emmett, we got a smile on your face this morning.
Hello, Toodlum. How you doing?
Fine, fine.
When you go to work like that,
A man that needs a little money, see, I have to get out and work on the railroad like
When did you
this,
get your
try to
red
make a
boot?
living, leave these boys.
Working on the railroad, huh?
Well, man, that's one of the
Traffic
requirements.
stopper,
They require that. That's it's danger, red light. I can remember 1950 when, as a fairly young fella, just out of 2 years of college, I came back to Haleyville, Alabama, and started working in a supermarket, sacking groceries and carrying groceries. I was fortunate enough to get a job firing with the Illinois Central Railroad. Those days were the tough days in our area because our main industry, along about this time, the Haleyville cotton mill, closed. And our main jobs, or the number one job that the people were trying to get in the Haleyville area then, was with the railroad, because it gave you, and I was lucky because it would pay us better than anything that we could get. We were primarily an agriculture town. Had 4 gins, and they ginned the cotton, and people came in the fall of the year and paid what they had bought during the whole year when they sold their cotton. We were lucky, or I might say fortunate, in 1955, or the mid-50s, when we located in our town a seat cover factory. It's been known the seat cover factory ever since, but actually it's a ladies' lingerie plant. And that's where we employed approximately 450 people, and only about 100 of these were men. So we there developed in our town a go-getter situation. We had the go-getters in the pool room and on the sidewalk, on the whittling benches, whittling until 4:30 in the afternoon, and then they would go get their wives.
Winston was just another county in Alabama until June of 1861. 6 months earlier, the state had seceded from the Union to join the Confederate States of America. Winston County, with few slaves, refused to join in the secession. At a meeting near here, the people of Winston County said, in effect, "Leave us alone, unmolested, so that we may work out our future here in the hills and mountains of northwest Alabama." It was at that meeting that the phrase "Free State of Winston" was coined, and this designation has persisted until today. A more recent example of the free spirit attitude in Winston County is the phenomenal effort to find industry for the county. Following World War II, the city of Haleyville, the largest municipality in the county, had only two industries, a cotton mill and a railroad shop. The cotton mill closed its doors, leaving an almost desolate job market. The town leaders recognized that to preserve their town, there had to be jobs. The success of their effort is proven in statistics for the county. The first major industry to come to Haleyville conducted an employment survey and came up with 4,600 applicants in only 2 days. This in a county with a population of 14,600. In 1960, 4,296 people worked in industry. By 1970, employment had increased 171%. The growth started in Haleyville and has spread throughout the entire county. Statistics are interesting, but how was this accomplished? What did Haleyville do that other towns in similar circumstances missed? How do you move from failure to success in industrial development? It could be dedication. It could be attitude. It could be both. V.H. Albright was mayor during this growth period.
I've been in Haleyville since 1916. I come from Carroll County, Georgia at the age of 16. And I watched Haleyville all these years grow from nothing to what we think one of the best small cities in the state. We're working more people than our payroll.
Former Mayor Albright now spends his time in his balcony office, directly supervising the operation of his modern general store.
Along in the early 50s, we bought the old Alabama cotton mill, the property and the water tank and the spur line and everything for $55,000. Well, we immediately got started then hunting somebody to take that off our hand. We need that money back, and we need work for our people. We learned about the hole-proof hosier people might be interested in expanding. So they was interested enough to send a representative down and investigate what we've got. Well, they immediately traded with us, with the understanding we'd raise another $100,000 to help them remodel the old cotton mill and plug up the windows and help them air condition it and everything.
Kaiser Roth's Haleyville Textile Company came to town and provided jobs for 400 workers in the economically depressed Free State of Winston. The firm's first plant in the old cotton mill building has been modernized, and it has expanded into other facilities. Kaiser Roth now has 2 plants in Haleyville and employs 900 workers. In addition, the company has located a divisional headquarters here. Success with the textile firm spurred the town's leadership to seek other industry.
About 1962 or 3, we got a hold, we built a plant here for a fellow by the name of McAllister, for a piggyback trailer outfit. It cost about close to $2 million, the building did. At least $1.5 million, close to $2 million. So by the time we got it built, Kaiser couldn't raise the money to start. Why, we was in the tight. So we put on an additional, we had 1% sales tax, and we put on an additional 1% sales tax, making 2%. And we traded with Fontaine Truck and Equipment Company in Birmingham to take the debt off of our hands. And so in 1964 it was. We did take the 1% off, like we said we would.
Now the question again, what brought success from failure? Would other towns impose a 1-cent sales tax to pay for a building which had no industry in it? Would other financial institutions supply the money needed to finance men in their 20s who had only an idea and the determination to make the idea pay? Positive answers to those 2 questions played an important role in the development of Winston County. There was a commitment on the part of the leadership. There were bankers willing to finance new ideas, but there was more. There was a pool of labor anxious to work and willing to work hard. Even today, amid prosperity, most Winston Countyans seem especially committed to their work and are satisfied to maintain a simple, rural lifestyle.
In Haleyville, Alabama.
Hometown Radio.
It's that time again. Time for the annual Merchants Association Sidewalk Sale. Yes, it's the time of the year when Haleyville merchants move out on the sidewalk with their racks and tables of merchandise drastically reduced. During the sidewalk sale,
These knives, I saw that double leg. My brother said to give me $20 for them now. That's the old double leg. See, I made a good trade after all, didn't I? Yeah. You know what? Did this cost you $7 or $8, didn't it? Neighbor, I hope you like the watch. I just traded for it yesterday. It runs a little fast, but you get with it, can't you? Yeah, set it back a little. Oh, hold it.
The unemployment problem of the 1950s is gone. Now, there are more jobs than workers. Surrounding areas provide workers who come here in search of increased opportunity. One such transplant is Earl Dunnigan, now a vice president of Trimcraft Incorporated.
For the last couple of years, I've practiced public accounting in Birmingham, Alabama. Chose to move to Haleyville, Alabama because of the difference in the business attitude and the possibilities of making money for a younger person. In Haleyville, age does not make as much difference as far as getting things done and existing in the business community as it does in a larger city.
This is the Free State of Winston. True, it has many successful traditional industries, but its industrial long suit is the mobile home industry, which in this area is innovative and daring. Nobody really knows whether Haleyville found the mobile home industry or the mobile home industry found Haleyville. The Commodore Corporation built the first mobile home manufacturing plant in Haleyville. The plant is called Frontier Mobile Homes, and the name is significant because it opened a new frontier of industry in this area. One of those who played a major role in bringing Frontier to Haleyville was the town doctor, W.K. Wilson.
I purchased the first 3 models that they imported to Haleyville and put them on display on this particular site where I'm standing today. From that, people learned the difference between a gypsy-type mobile home or a house trailer and the modern living home that we have today.
I grew up in a farming town. Of course, Bear Creek's a small little farming town. I worked on the farm. I've picked cotton, pulled corn, I've chopped cotton. I know what it's all about. I hated picking that cotton, skinning up your knees and getting them thorns in your fingers.
32-year-old Don Tidwell operates his mobile home empire from this plush office. Tidwell is a native of the area. His company now owns 7 plants in 5 states and grossed approximately $62 million last year.
I finished high school over at Bear Creek back in 1958, and I decided I wanted to be a truck driver. So I drove a truck for a year and a half, and I decided that wasn't the way to make a living, so Frontier Homes, located here in Haleyville, Alabama, which is a mobile home plant, and I started to work for them in July of '61, and worked for them up until January of '65.
What'd you do at Frontier?
Well, I started off in the academy shop as a laborer for about $1, I think, if I remember it's right, $1.18 an hour. And I worked my way up to the production manager. That's the total responsibility running the production line.
Then what happened?
Well, I decided that maybe I could build mobile homes and make a dollar, so I left Frontier, and me and 9 other people started a company which is now known as Winston Industries. And We started Winston Industries in July of 65, and I ran this company from a 1-plant operation to a 7-plant operation, which we sold in March of 69. We really didn't have any money. I think we had more guts than we had money. Me and of course, we had a small investment of $130,000 between the 10 of us. And we kind of more or less started with a shoestring. I turned around and started what is now known as Tidwell Industries.
Good morning, Tidwell Industries.
I've definitely taken a lot of gambles. We'll come out with, for instance, mobile homes with round beds, bright pink paneling, carpets that are so bright you really need shades, I guess, on some time to look at them, but we've gambled, but we've been successful with it. I have my own private jet, which does not even belong to the company. It's my own personal jet. I pay my own expenses on it. And, of course, we're in contact with the plants weekly. I go to a plant, I go in, I'll sit down, have a visit with the general manager, find out what his problems is. Then I'll get out and kick around through the plant on my own because I know how a mobile home is supposed to be built because that's where I started at.
Good morning, Tidwell Industries.
I'd say that 80% of our sales force are ex-college football players. And the football players, they stick. A lot of them are Barry Bryant's football players. Looks like he did a good job with them playing football. He did a good job with selling mobile homes. We know people definitely copy us because we can come out with a new mobile home designed today and we'll park it down at a service station tonight when the truck pulls it off to be delivered the next day, and 2 weeks later we find our same home sitting on the lot because somebody's copied it. So we get copied as far as the type of people we hire, the kind of mobile home we build, the way we run our business. They're copied in other areas now. There's a few things said around in town about the way we live, the way our hair looks and the bright clothes we wear. Yeah, there's a few things said about that, yeah. I guess me being president of the company, if I want to wear loud clothes and long hair, I can't say anything about the rest of them wearing.
Tidwell's friend and associate, John Posey Jr., a local attorney, may have been the motivating force behind the rapid expansion of the mobile home industry in Winston County. Posey, called Ho-Ho by his friends because of his ready laugh, served as advisor, counselor, and confidant to many who have succeeded.
I first went into the mobile home business. A lot of local people joked about it, said, well, it couldn't be done and so on, and I wasn't too sure it could be done myself. So rather than admit that I was gullible enough to invest in the damn thing, I just told them, well, I was just their legal advisor. But I was reluctant, frankly, to admit that I was fooling us to waste money on it. I've always felt like that most people probably perform at let's say 10% of their ability. I've always felt like that most limitations put on us are mental, self-imposed by our own mind. And if you've got the ability to do something, then the financial end of it's the easy part. At the time the mobile home business was first here, there were no supply places here. The closest was several hundred miles from here, and we talked to one of our purchasing agents into going into the supply business. We put $2,000 up, and within a year they were grossing $1 million a month in business. Well, a young man with ability can come here and go into business for himself and have a better chance of success than he would most everywhere else, largely because so many have been successful here already.
Money for industrial expansion has been no problem in Haleyville. Young men who have had good ideas have found a ready supply of capital. Financing has been accomplished through the resources of local banks with assistance from the Small Business Administration.
Well, of course, my only experience with financing has been with the State National Bank up at Decatur, Alabama. And I don't know, I guess they just believed in me because I didn't have any money when I started.
We were impressed, number one, with the willingness of the workers here in Winston County to earn their fair keep by giving a good day's work for their salary. Also, we were impressed with the young men and the entrepreneurs here which were really willing to invest their capital. We were impressed with their ideas, and we felt like the economic prospects were here, and it was up to us to assist in this development. The Small Business Administration here in Alabama, headquartered in Birmingham and headed up by Mr. Paul Brunson, has been very active in recent years in assisting the small businessmen with the cooperation of banks, particularly our bank, to help provide for their financial needs in this direction.
With industrial growth, with increased population, with expanding city limits, come problems which must be resolved. Toby Yarborough is manager of Form Tube of Alabama and a member of the Haleyville School Board.
Well, here in Haleyville, we certainly have problems due to the fact that we have grown so fast in the past 10 years, and the city has not been able to keep up with the growth, such as the sewer, the streets, and this type water problems. And in order to solve our problems, I think it's down to municipal planning. I think we have lacked this in the past, not any reflection on our past city fathers, but they have done everything they could do, but I still think it's a lack of planning, and in order to alleviate the problem, it's going to have to take a lot of planning on our future leaders.
Richard Martin has served only a few months as mayor of Haleyville. He is a longtime resident of the town who recognizes the problems which come with rapid growth. Martin is optimistic about his term in office.
Certainly, we do have problems, just as any other small town. We are going up into town now, and you'll see our need there for more streets, more parking area. This is under plan now. We will have a mall where our Main Street is now. In fact, Urban Renewal tells me that they are about a year and a half above our schedule right now. We have 8 contractors finishing about 2.5 homes per day. We have 10 subdivisions, mostly through construction and in several under construction. Our main problem in securing new plants, homes, and all is water. But the Water Board informed me that they have already signed a contract with TVA that will enable them to permit a plenteous supply. We'll be wanting to sell water once this project is underway. We can take as many plants as we need.
Winston County is my home place. Mountains, rivers, fields, and corn. The deer's place beside of heaven. Alabama, the place where I was born.
This is the Free State of Winston, an area which chose an unconventional stance during the Civil War and continues to follow the unconventional path today. Mobile homes and the industries which support them have created what might appear as Winston land, a hill country fantasy. But that's only a surface appearance. The money is here, the determined attitude is here, and a workforce which desperately needed employment a decade ago is now earning a substantial income. The Haleyville Airport lends visual emphasis to this county's successful industrial quest. 4 years ago, only one airplane was based here. Now there are 30, most of them used by the mobile home industry to promote this county's #1 business. Daily, the planes take their owners across the nation to sell or to buy and to tell the modern story of the free state of Winston.
John, you have the blueprint for Midland plant? Yeah, I've got it. You got this? John, you still getting off and out? You got the report good? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Have a nice trip, man.
So many people, they don't really understand what we're really doing up here. They'll think you're coming back and throwing some fairy tale to them. I think basically what's happened to me is there's been a thing that's played a big role in making Winston and Marion and adjoining counties what they are today. When I left Bear Creek planning to be a multimillionaire, I didn't. The only pleasure really would just be that one of these days when I get old, maybe I can take care of myself and won't wind up in one of these old homes for the age. I guess is about the only satisfaction out of having money as far as I'm concerned, because if you'll try, you can work for a payday every day and make a good living.